So we've got a really special video for you today. I've got a guest with me. This is Gautam from Gujarat Journeys. Welcome.
Thank you, Sarah. Nice meeting you again.
You too. Gautam and I travelled together around India last year, and we did textile tour of Gujarat, and Gautam was our guide. So we're out in the sunshine, we're in the garden, it's beautiful weather, and we thought we would have a little tour of some textiles and embroideries of Gujarat. So stick around and come and see all these beautiful things. So we've got a table full of goodies, so what shall we look at first?
Well, I'd like to show you the garments worn by the Rabari community.
Okay.
Especially the men and the ladies, the different kind of jackets what they wear.
Okay.
We have the men's jacket known as Kedu, and you can see the pleat work and a little bit of embroidery.
It's beautiful. Can we have a look at the front as well? Because the pleats go all the way around. It's amazing. And the construction in it is quite spectacular. It wraps all the way around, and it's even got a little pocket in it inside to hide your...
That's actually the pocket to hide your money, but nowadays it's being used to hide your mobile phone.
Okay, modern Rabaris.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. And it's just the men who wear this, and this is always white?
Always white.
Always white.
Always
okay.
white.
Okay. So
I'm going to show you the one by the ladies.
Right, so the ladies wear black.
Yeah.
They always wear black?
Always. They always wear black.
In temperatures of?
Ranging from 48 to 52 degrees during peak summers.
Okay. The men get nice and cool, and the ladies? Okay.
And you can see it's got beautiful pleats in the front and lovely embroidered arms and just below the navel button.
Yeah. This is quite interesting at the front, isn't it? Lots of pleats at the front. Pleats. But then the back, you swivel them around.
And you can see the back, it's open or backless, what we call. And these are worn by the community called Rabaris. And pleats, what you saw in the front, they represent different ages of the lady.
Okay.
Or a young girl will have almost very like flat kind of dress. There won't be so many pleats.
Okay.
An adult or a married lady will have lots of pleats on the blouse, and then old lady or elderly lady will not have so many pleats, and a widower will have almost like a plain.
Okay. Okay.
So seeing at the blouses, we can make out the different.
You can tell the status
stages,
of somebody by what blouse they're actually wearing.
Exactly.
But the men's is all the same. The men's
Men
doesn't
is all
change,
the same.
so
almost.
it's just the women's.
Yeah.
Oh, those are beautiful. Okay.
I'll just put this aside, and then I'm going to show you lots of other embroideries of Gujarat and the region of Gujarat.
Okay, so what have we got here?
Well, let's start with the golden thread embroidery of the Kutch region, and especially an area called Bani, which is the area where we have more than 64 hamlets, and we have different tribal communities, tribes staying in there, or rather I would call them communities, not tribes. And this belongs to a community called Muthwa, and the golden work, the stitch what they do is known as Pako.
That's this round here, isn't it?
And then you have tiny, tiny shisha work in Sarah.
These are tiny. These are minute, little tiny 5 millimeters, maybe tiny ones. And they will do this. This is all done in their hand.
Everything is done on the hand. They don't have any frame or things where they could hold it. So start from one corner.
Yeah.
And then continue.
Okay.
As they continue, they keep changing.
Yeah.
Side of the fabric this way and.
Okay, so they change it to work around it. Okay.
And the mirrors that you're seeing here are actually the blow glass mirrors, what I used here. The glass is blown and then they break it.
Okay, so like a balloon.
Like a balloon.
And they smash the balloon and then they cut the mirrors
with the scissors.
With the scissors.
And just to make the edges smooth, they would take the mirror, cut mirror, and rub it onto the floor. So you have smooth edges.
To take off the rough edges. Okay, that's beautiful. We'll leave that one there. Should we look at these?
Yeah, and don't leave. We've got something really, really special coming up.
Let's leave that one out and we'll put these on top.
We've got something really special coming up for you every time we show you a different embroidery of various communities.
So this is a new one that's been made, but this is an old one. So these are 40
These are
years?
almost 40 years old and were used, were given in the dowry.
These came from a dowry bag,
yeah.
didn't they? Just lay the pieces out. Just hold this big one up here so you can see.
This is by a different community of the Kutch region. And, you can see the embroidery and the shisha work is also very different. This particular piece could go as a wall hanging, or it could go as a piece to cover up some food or some sweets that were exchanged during some festivals.
Okay, so these are used for very special
occasions. Very special occasions.
Okay. And the significance of the colours? They're very bright colours.
Because they were given as dowry, and it's going to bring a lot of colour in the life of the girl.
Okay. So nice bright colours. Yeah. So we have two of those. We have two smaller pieces here. We'll just show how these go together. So you get a triangular.
These pieces, what you see, are actually hangings used for the windows or hangings used for a small shrine in the house. We call them as toran.
Okay.
So these are also used during very auspicious occasions or festivals, and they hang it around the windows or the small shrines what they have in the house.
Okay. They're absolutely beautiful, and because they're so densely worked and they've got mirrors, they're actually really
heavy.
Quite heavy, aren't they? Quite a solid piece of material. They're absolutely beautiful. Those. Okay. So let's just fold those away. Okay, what should we have a look at now?
I'm going to show you something. Very special kind of embroidery that you can see, known as Ari embroidery or the cobbler stitch.
Okay.
They use the awl in making this embroidery, and they have 4 different kind of awls. What they use: one is for a single thread, double thread, triple thread, and a quad thread. This is what we are seeing here.
So this is like with a long needle with a hook on the end, and these actually look like chain stitches.
These are running chain stitch that is used.
Yeah, if you look very closely, very densely worked. These are actually my designs, and I sent them to Gautam, and he had some artisans in Gujarat make them up into these beautiful, and hold it up, beautiful embroideries. And they were just given the designs, and they've chosen the colours and how to work it, and it's so beautiful to see something I've designed stitched in by another artisan in a way that they want to stitch them. So these are all my pieces. So we've got the elephant there, peacock, of course. Can you not have a peacock? Like that. And then
dragonfly.
So these are done in colours, but we've also got some samples of the same designs in another technique. Is that right?
This is known as jardoshi, where they're using the golden thread, and you can see how beautifully and how intricate the stitch is. And here again they're using the same kind of awl or the needle that is there.
And these are a lot of threads that are familiar to me, actually. So we've got the pearls, the smooth pearls, some sequins, some beads, and some gold thread as well. And you can see if I just put those two together, same design, and how different they look with the different techniques. So we've also got, I think this is my favourite. You hold that one up to the left. You can show them together.
Sure.
Yeah. So there's one in coloured thread and then one in gold thread. And this one is beautiful. This is so intricate.
Yeah.
And
these are almost the same kind of pearl threads that you have in your shop.
Yeah. So if you want to have a go, you can make a quick peacock.
Yeah.
And then we've got one more. We've got the elephant. Just stunning. Okay, so them together.
Yeah.
So in colour and in gold, just to show you how different something can look depending on what technique you do it in. Beautiful, and again lots of the gold threads and the metals and the sequins. Beautiful. So modern pieces.
Yes.
Done in a traditional
way.
technique.
Just wanted to have a go at them so that the sequins can be used, the pearls can be used into this kind of design. And I'm glad you shared your designs with me, and I could get it done into something very.
It's nice to see how they interpreted them. Okay, put those to one side. Right, what should we look at next?
From the embroidery, I'm going to take you to something, show you something very unique of Gujarat, the tie and dye, what we call, which is also known as bandhani. And bandhani is actually a word that originated from Sanskrit, which means bandhana, to tie. And that is how it is known as tie and dye. And the bandana, what you use, is
what you wear in your head. Yeah. Well, I never knew that.
We'll show you something very traditional tie and dye of Gujarat.
Should we open it up a bit? There we go.
Dupattas or stoles, very traditional color, very traditional design, and you'll find it all over Gujarat.
Okay, and so just to explain how this works, so you take a tiny piece of the fabric into a tiny little,
you just pinch it up,
and then you tie a thread around. Around that.
Just go round, maybe 10 or 15 times, and then put a knot. Continue with the next dot that is there. And once you have done the complete tying work, it has to be dyed. And then you take it out from the dye, dry it up. You'll see there are 3 or 4 different colors. So this is the discharge process, what they use for dyeing. You dye it once, then you discharge the other color.
Right, so this has gone through the process several times to get each of the different colours.
Exactly.
And I don't know if you can see how small these these little knots are. So each one of these has been tied. I just want to show you
the modern one.
This one, just to appreciate how small this is. So this is one that I did in a workshop on our trip around Gujarat, and we all got to have a go. This is the size of my knots. Which are massive. So these were coins, weren't they? We put coins in these ones, and this one I just screwed it up like that and wrapped around it, and these ones I've pinched in the middle. So I tried to do a small one.
This looks like a very beautiful new style of doing the tie and dye. And also an inclusion of the Japanese version. Also the inclusion of a Japanese version, which is known as shibori. So here we had the coins put in, and then we folded it up and it was stitched. So the stitching style that was done was the shibori style, and the one that you pinched and you picked up the fabric and tied it up, that was the tie and dye style.
So this was me trying to do a small knot here, and this is their small knot.
Pinheads, I would say. But very well done. You have done something very, very modern and a fusion of 2 different styles.
But just interesting to see how the artisan, how small and how precise the artisan is, and how you know what makes these so beautiful. and how delicate they are. So beautiful. Oh, we've got one more there just to show you something a bit different.
Very different. Very different.
So how would they have got that shape in it?
Now, this method of doing the tie and dye is known as clamping, where the fabric is folded, like you have 4 folds,
Yeah.
and then they would put something in between here, and then it's
Oh, okay.
folded like this.
Oh, right. Okay.
Goes over and over and over, and
Okay.
by the time they reach here,
Yeah.
they would clamp
Oh, okay.
the fabric.
Okay.
So this
Get
area,
that shape in
yeah,
it. Oh,
this-
so
this-
different technique.
yeah,
then.
this is covered and the remaining is open.
Right.
So
Okay.
they put the whole thing into the dye. After it's taken out, let it dry, and then this is how you get such lovely, lovely.
It's beautiful.
It can be done on silk. You can do it on cotton.
And
Now
then
they-
this is dyed in indigo.
Yeah, this
dye.
is dyed in indigo.
Beautiful. Lovely. Okay, send that down that end of the table. Okay, where do we want to go now? Which area of Gujarat shall we go to next?
Most of it, what I have, is from the Kutch region and the Surendranagar region, or the Gautam region. I'd like to show you something on weaving. So we
Okay.
have done embroidery, we have done tie and dye. Just show you an example of weaving.
Okay.
When we talk about weaving, there are different ways, different styles of weaving in Gujarat, but this is very unique, which I really love it. It's called Tangalia weaving. And if you look at the design here, and if you look at the reverse, this is the front side, and if you make it a reverse like this, it's exactly the same.
Okay.
And if you run your hand, you will feel there's an extra weft that comes up.
Yes.
So this particular design is woven into the fabric by adding an extra thread, and which is woven during that.
So they weave up to here,
Yeah,
and then they get this yellow thread, for example, and they sort of twist it,
Twist
don't
it,
they,
yeah.
around the warp thread,
Yeah.
the long one. And then they carry on weaving, and then they twist another one.
another one.
Okay.
So if you have to get this design, like the weaver has to exactly have a count of the shuttle movement that happens, and then put this extra thread in, roll it like a bead, and then weave it.
Okay.
These designs or motifs they don't have it as a drawing. It's all in their mind.
Right.
It's all the calculation that they
Right.
do.
Okay.
This
And
is-
it's all symmetrical as well.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And they sit. We went to see this being done. They sit on the
Pit loom.
in a pit, don't they? So they dig a hole down into the ground,
Exactly.
and the loom is on the level, and they actually sit below ground level,
Yeah.
don't they? in
The
a way?
pedals are below the ground level, and that's how they operate. And it's normally a single man, individual doing it.
Yes. Yeah.
Sometimes the wife or the sister or the daughter might help him if he has to do a bigger thing. But normally it's what they weave now is scarves or stoles, something like that.
Okay.
Earlier it was saris or wraparounds.
Right. Okay. Okay. So a more of a modern use for it. It's beautiful. Really
Especially
good.
worn-
Never seen anything like this done before.
It was especially worn by the ladies of a community called Bharwad. And Bharwads are shepherds.
Okay.
They would wear this kind of saros or wraparounds.
Right. Beautiful. Okay, where should we go now? So many beautiful things.
I have another.
Okay.
We go with the
Yeah, we'll
jet
have a look at this.
embroidery.
Yeah. We've got a few samples for this, so this one is quite spectacular. You might be able to see the shape that makes.
This is actually a yoke.
Yes.
They use
So round the top of a dress.
dress.
Yeah.
Jat actually are a community that migrated from Syria or parts of Iran, Iraq, and then they came into the Kutch region.
Okay.
And there are 3 different clans of the Jat who are present in Gujarat, and each clan has got their own style of embroidery. We have the Danetari Jat, we have the Fakirani Jat, and we have the Karasia Jat.
Okay.
We can identify them by the kind of stitch, what they have, kind of yoke, what they're wearing.
Okay.
This is how we can identify. And here again you can see they have very, very tiny shisham.
Very small, yes.
Very tiny.
They are very tiny. And this is all counted as well,
Yes.
isn't it?
Yes.
So this is a very fine weave fabric, and this is all a counted technique on here, which is amazing. The whole thing counted. And we've got a few more examples, haven't we? So we've got another one here.
This was actually a part of a game that they were planning to get it onto this, but unfortunately it didn't work out the way they wanted it.
So they did all that to try something out, and then it didn't work.
It can be used, by just stitching it up together.
Right. Okay.
You can use it as a mobile phone cover, or you can just put a zip around and.
Their work was not wasted then.
Exactly.
These are interesting as well. So these look like the same style.
Yeah, these are also by the Jat community, and these are used on the dresses either to put it onto the sleeves or on that can be stitched up just below the yoke.
Right. Okay. So long thin pieces is another one there.
You can see the difference in both of them.
Yes.
One is very thin, and this is a little bit.
Yes. A bit
bigger.
Yeah.
And this is kind of old work.
Okay.
Maybe. And this is newer work.
Okay, that's
threads,
interesting.
the quality of threads are different.
Right, okay.
In the old work you have the mirrors.
Yeah.
In the newer one there are no mirrors.
Okay. So is this to make it quicker, or?
This is to make it quicker and to make it's like more of a commercial thing what they're trying to do it now. This is very traditional that was used.
Okay.
The quality of fabric is very different.
So that's the same story all around the world,
All
isn't
around
it?
the world.
It's a very long piece as well.
This is actually used as a strap for some bag or something to be made.
So that's Jat embroidery.
Jat embroidery.
Okay. So what have we got here then?
We got Rogan painting, which is a very unique kind of art that you can see in Gujarat.
Okay.
We have only a very few families who are doing this painting, and this seems to have come to Gujarat from Persia, maybe around about 300 or 400 years ago. And they use castor oil in making this painting.
Okay.
Castor oil is boiled
Okay.
and cooled, and the process goes on for a couple of days.
Right.
And they get it into a form of a chewing gum, and they mix some colors into it. With the pigment. And with the help of a small spindle, they take a little bit of the rogan, rub it onto their hand, and get the consistency for moving it over onto the fabric, like painting it.
And it looks like embroidery if we just hold it up to that one. Looks like it's embroidered, but it's not. It's all painted. There's no thread in this at all. It's all painted.
This form, what we see is actually the newer version, more of contemporary kind of thing.
Okay.
The original was, it was painted on the skirts worn by the ladies and the headgears.
Okay.
But with the coming of the printed fabric, people stopped using the Rogan painted fabric. So now the families who are working onto the Rogan painting, they're coming up with new ideas, new motifs. And their main motif is the tree of life.
Right.
Which is their kind of, I would say, copyright motif.
Okay. And how did they ever find find this technique? How did is it a secret or?
No, this has been done by generation, and from generation to generation. It's been passed on from father to son. This is the 9th generation who's doing on with this kind of
very
painting.
special.
Very special.
I've certainly never seen anything like that at all.
When our Prime Minister, Mr. Modi, went and visited Prime Minister Obama in the US, he gifted them a Rogan painting. And now the artisan has also been recognized, and they're trying to work with different companies. They're working with the Khadigram, Udyog, and hoping
good.
These
so
kind
they're
of
still
things.
keeping the tradition going.
Yeah.
That's super. It's beautiful. Fabulous. So from a bit of painting to.
So you have seen the traditional Rabari dress. You have seen the golden thread. You have seen the mirrors. You have seen Ari embroidery. You have seen the Jet embroidery. Now we're going to show you something very unique again, which is block printing.
Okay.
And we call it Ajrak printing.
To that?
We have something
we can
here.
Show that one here. Okay. Let's get the right side.
Yeah, this is the
side.
right side. And block printing, there are different techniques or different names that are used, and this kind of print is known as Ajrak printing. We have Tabu printing, we have Sanganeri printing, in which the resists what they use are very different.
Right.
Now, Ajrak printing, actually Ajrak is an Urdu word which means blue.
Okay.
And because they have the use of indigo in this, and it originated maybe somewhere in Saudi Arabia or something, the word Ajrak. So the use of blue, the use of indigo in this fabric. And you'll see that the motifs here are the motifs that are either geometrical pattern or floral designs. Mostly the motifs that you find in the mosque or in some of the monuments like that.
Okay.
In Sanganeri print you'll find different motifs. You will not have these kind of motifs. And the Ajrak work is done in the Kutch region. It is done in Rajasthan, or area called Badmer. So these are the two regions where you find them being done in India. And in Pakistan, it is done in the Sindh region. So this is done by a community called Khatris. And they are Muslims. We have Hindu Khatris as well as Muslim Khatris. And they migrated from Sindh area of Pakistan. So this is something very special. Ajrak also is special because it's not only printed on one side of the fabric, but it's printed on both the sides of the fabric. Here, this example, what we have is only single side printing. You can see this print is very beautiful, but at the back, it's not so.
Still quite beautiful.
Yeah, it's quite beautiful, but not like that. Not like the double print. Yeah, we're going to show you something.
This is very special. So this is the same on the back as it is. So you hold that side and I'll turn that over. So it's printed on both sides.
Both sides. And you'll see that
and the pattern
is same.
The pattern matches, by the way. So it's the same pattern. The flowers there on that side and it's there on that side.
And the colors what they use are all natural dyes, vegetable dyes, nothing chemical in this. So Ajrak is very special because of the traditional motifs what they have and the vegetable dyes what they use. Very cooling, very soothing to your eyes and to your body.
It is beautiful. It's stunning. And there's about 16 or 17 processes, is that right, or more than that?
There are, you're very true, Sarah, around about 16 processes till the time you reach the last stage of the double side printing.
Get the two sides.
Yeah. You need to do the outline, boil the fabric, dip it into various natural dyes, dry it, again boil it, print it.
Using different resists to get the different colours. It's phenomenal, it really is.
Actually, block printing looks very easy. You feel like you just take a block, print, dye, dry, it's done. But no, to get a quality of Ajrak print like this, the whole process of all 15 or 16 stages would take more than 45 days.
And I can tell you, I've had a go at this, and I'm not showing you my piece, basically, to have an idea of it, but very, very special process in here, that they can do this and carry this on is amazing, because this is stunning, very beautiful. Right, put the beautiful things to one side, look at some more beautiful things, too many beautiful things. Okay.
Now we're going to show you an embroidery which is done from the reverse side.
Okay.
This we call it as SUF embroidery, SUF, SUF. So this is also done by counting threads.
And this is a very fine fabric.
Normally the fabric what they use is either 40 count fabric, 60 count fabric, and most craftsmen would use 80 count fabrics.
80 count?
80 count.
So that's 80 threads
per inch.
to the inch. And they count the holes, so they count the stitches, so the stitches are all the same, and 80 count, which is...
I call this embroidery as a big challenge to machine embroidery. If a person looks from far and says that this is hand done, sometimes people don't believe it.
No.
They say it's machine done, but no.
It does look, when you first see it, it does look like it's done on a machine. Yeah, it does.
This is the front side what we are seeing.
But they actually work it from the back.
From the back.
So they stitch with the back facing up, and then the gaps between, so they go round some of the shapes, and then they get that on the front. That's incredible. And that's all counted, so all of these shapes are the same size.
And another important aspect of SUF embroidery is you can only have geometrical patterns. You cannot have circles.
Right, okay. So they're always triangles and
squares and rectangles.
Okay.
And this is what we do in Gujarat. And there's similar kind of embroidery that is done in Punjab as well. And it is known as pulkari.
Right, okay. Might have heard of, I've certainly heard of pulkari. Yeah.
And pulkaris are like big shawls or dupattas what they use during the weddings.
Okay.
It's especially for the weddings what they use, or for special occasions.
Yeah. And we've got a couple here. We've got some more samples of this. A little sample piece here. Looks like it was going to be something.
This is going to be a small bag, money bag.
Okay. And then we've got a couple of
cushion covers.
You can hold the blue one and I'll hold the black one. So you can, if it's not made for a wedding, you can still make a practical item for your, they can still make these items. Beautiful. They're so different, all these types of embroideries. So many different styles. So that's SUF. Yeah.
Now we're going to show you another painting that is done on the fabric.
Okay.
Which we call Matani Pachedi.
Okay.
And this is actually a fabric which is painted and it's used as an offering to the god. Done by a community. Earlier we used to call them Wagri, but now we call them Chitara.
Okay. This is stunning. Hold it.
Mother of all paintings.
It is. This is hand painted from memory?
Yes, this is...
There's no pattern?
No pattern, no drawings or anything. Just pattern what they have in their mind. And each Matani Pachedi has got a story behind it because it's used as an offering to the goddess.
Okay.
So there are different stories which are connected to each Matani Pachedi. And this is a very, very special piece which the artisan has done. He's used the Dabu style of block printing where he has used mud as resist.
Okay.
And
so you draw with the mud. And then you dye it, and then you wash the mud.
Wash, yeah. Normally in Matani Pachedi they use iron rust because the outline comes black.
Yes.
And then it's painted. The colors are hand filled in, not using a brush but using a small stick which has got a very sharp edge.
Right.
So it's more like a stick being used.
So they paint it in mud with a stick.
With a stick.
From memory.
Yep.
What can I say?
This is one of the most unique kind of painting
It
work.
is. Never seen anything
Also
like
known as kalamkari.
that. Kalamkari. Okay.
Kalam is the wooden pencil or brush what they use. And in Gujarat we call it Matani Pachedi because it's an offering to the goddess. Mata means goddess.
Okay.
Here you can see goddess
Yes.
and then different motifs all connecting to stories.
And this is amazing. I remember the first time I saw this. This has got mermaids in it.
Yep.
And which I was amazed at. It has mermaids and fish, but the mermaids specifically. But and this is a traditional design, though, isn't it? It's come down through the family.
From father to son.
Yeah.
All those things what you saw today are all traditional, coming down from father to son. All of it more than 9 generations.
Wow. That's an incredible amount of textile history, and all in one
small part of India.
It's fantastic.
You want to see all this? Travel with Sarah. Come to Gujarat. Join us.
Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge, your amazing knowledge, and showing us all of these wonderful embroideries. And if you do get the chance to travel with Gautam, you will see all of this and visit all of the artisans that are making this amazing work still, and it will be the trip of a lifetime. You can follow Gautam. He's on social media, so you're on Instagram and on Facebook. So Gujarat Journeys, search for Gujarat Journeys and you'll find them. We'll put links down in the description below this video as well, so follow him and see what he's up to and where he's going, and if you can join him on a trip, you'll have the trip of a lifetime. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you so much.